Hi, welcome. My name is Heather, and today I want to talk with you about stepfamilies. But first, I want to invite you on a trip. I want to invite you to come with me to Hawaii. We'll say we're going to Hawaii. All you have to do is raise your hand. If you want to go to Hawaii, just raise your hand. Well, that's pretty much everybody. So now, what if I told you that we're going to go by rowboat? We're going to go in the ocean, and we're going to paddle by rowboat, and there's going to be like some really rough seas, and it could take months, maybe years. Now how many? Nobody. Yep. That is how stepfamilies feel quite a bit. They feel like they're going on a trip to Hawaii, and then it turns out that it feels like an endless rowboat, and they can't see the island at all. So that's where I want to begin, is that 66% of couples living together or remarried where children are involved will fail. Sadly, that happens usually in about the first 5 years. And this is a tragic truth, because being in a stepfamily is not for the faint of heart. Kids are already struggling with insecurity and instability, yet our homes are unstable. It's important for a stepfamily to understand that there are differences. And if you know that there are differences with a stepfamily, you can build an intentional plan and strategy in order to be one of those successful families in the other percentage. So I want to start by showing you a few statistics. The U.S. Bureau of Census says 1 out of 2 marriages will end in divorce. I think most of us know it's about 50%. The average marriage in the U.S. lasts about 7 years. 75% will remarry, and over 50% of U.S. families are remarried or recoupled. 50% of children under the age of 13 are currently living with one biological parent and a partner of their other parent. Actually, I think that is a higher percentage now. Statistics are really interesting, but the bottom line is the result of divorce is having a huge impact on our kids and on our future. Let's remember that most people didn't say, oh, you know what, I want to get married someday, and I want to have a couple of kids, and then in 6.2 years, I think I'll get a divorce, and then I'll find a new love, and he'll have kids, and I'll remarry, and nobody ever realizes or thinks that they're going to do that, but that is a reality. I never thought that I would be in a stepfamily. I was raised by 2 parents that were married for 53 years, and I got married back in 1990. We had 2 daughters, and 8 years later, my husband at the age of 34 was killed in a car accident. 2.5 years later, I met a man, and we got married. He had 2 teenage daughters. I'm a stepmom, and I have 4 daughters now. I had no idea that that would be my story. And the only reason I can speak about stepfamilies is that because I have been married for the last 18 years, I got over that 5-year hump and the 10-year hump and the 15-year hump. So somehow I'm still in the game 18 years into this. So I'm hoping that I can give some sort of encouragement and a few steps that might help your blended family, your stepfamily, have some healthy choices. Today I want to talk about some of the common challenges and issues and the needs that stepfamilies face. Like many of you, I thought that the ultimate stepfamily was this one, the Brady Bunch. And you know what? That is a lie. That is not what a stepfamily is like. They never once talk about how Marcia and Cindy and Jan have to go visit their biological father, and he's got a new girlfriend, and that he's now suing Carol for custody. You don't hear any of that. It's a bad representation. But today I want to talk about what it looks like to be a stepfamily. Most households that are stepfamilies have a step-parent, step-sibling, and a half-sibling, or any combination of those. So the first thing that we have to recognize is that stepfamilies are different. And if you try to smash a stepfamily into a biological family, you're just going to cause more stress and more friction. So if you already understand that they're different, you can be intentional about developing some healthy strategies, and that will make all the difference in your stepfamily. So let's talk about the differences. Most stepfamilies came out of loss. Whether it's a death or a divorce, the kids have lost a parent. Even if the parent didn't die, their other parent is not present in their life day by day. They've lost that constant. They're in a new home with a new family, and the kids of divorce have often seen adults at their very worst. And maybe they like their new step-parent. Well, sometimes that can be difficult because their biological parent is jealous. They don't want them to like the new step-parent. Or maybe that new step-parent might not stay. When I was about the first year of our step-family and I had 2 new teenage daughters, I was completely unequipped to handle this. I did not know what I was doing, and we used to fight and fight and fight. And I still remember one day, we were in some sort of fight. I don't even know what it was about. The 2 of them went storming up the stairs, went into their room, slammed the door, and I stormed up right behind them, and I opened the door, and I said, "Why are you so mean to me?" And I looked at them, and the younger sister was like curled up in a little ball, and she's sobbing. And her older sister has wrapped her arms around her in the most protective way she can, and she looks at me and she says, "You're probably going to leave us, so we might as well hate you now." And I looked at them and I said, "You don't know me. I made a commitment and I'm here for the long haul, so you just better get used to me." And I shut the door and I stood in that hallway and I just cried. I had no idea how scared they were. And I also realized that I had just made a promise at that doorway that I didn't know if I could keep it. But I got to tell you, as the years went by, whenever I was uncomfortable and nervous, I remembered that promise. And I had decided that I was going to keep that promise no matter what. We now have a wonderful relationship, but they were scared. And I was scared too. This leads me to my next point. No one is feeling the loss like kids. They have lost control. They've lost contact. They've lost continuity. They didn't fall in love like the adults did. They didn't have a choice. Yet their lives have been changed forever. Also, the difference is many times the kids feel like intruders, like they're an intruder in the home. Kids have to deal with loved ones and things being at 2 different places. They have 2 sets of rules and 2 sets of routines. And sometimes they're treated like a guest. They're sleeping on couches and in guest rooms and on fold-out couches, and they're in a suitcase back and forth. I remember one day, one of my girls came home and she's walking around the house and she's just looking at the walls. And finally I said, "What's the matter, honey?" And she says, "You know, there's no pictures of me and my sister on your walls at your house." And she was right. I hadn't even thought of it. They need to feel like a family member, even if they're only staying for a short time. So it's important to include them in all the family plans and family portraits and call and text them often and display artwork and projects and make them feel as much part of the family as you possibly can. Every chance you can, help them feel the stability. Another huge difference is backgrounds and traditions, the different family backgrounds and traditions. In a traditional or biological family, people share a common background. They have rituals and they have routines and even like unspoken rules and memories. And when you bring 2 families together and suddenly the holidays and all the routines get complicated, I recommend you make new traditions and you have new routines and you make new memories as you blend these 2 families. Finally, it's important to remember the parent-child relationship, blood is thicker than water. It's a huge reality that it's important to remember. And the biological parent has memories and experiences with their child that forms a natural alliance. And when some conflicts arise, the biological parent is going to naturally align with their child. And it seems natural, like they're defending themselves, their own family. It's important for the step-parent to accept this strong biological parent-child bond and avoid feeling rejected or treated unfairly when the partner aligns with their child. They must understand that this is natural. and it will help alleviate some possible stress and arguments. It'll help because the marriage will suffer if they don't understand this. These are just a few of the challenges that step families deal with. And the sooner you recognize and you begin to communicate what these differences are, the better the chances are for you to be long-term. I'm going to end today with a portion of the talk that I think is probably the most valuable thing I can share with you, and it's stay in the game. I'm a widow and I'm a stepmom, and I got to tell you, it's been harder to be a stepmom because a widow, I didn't have any choice. I couldn't change the outcome, but a stepmom, I had to decide every single day that I was going to do this. I was going to do this for the long haul. And I made a promise to my husband and to my girls that I would stay in the game. And I intend to keep that promise. I want to invite you to join me for part 2 of today's talk. I want to talk a little bit about steps to building a healthy step family. So thank you for joining me. For more information on Teen Esteem, go to teenesteem.org. Thank you.